Hey everybody, and welcome to the latest edition of Coffee Break with the Chamber Chicks. I'm Beth.
And I'm Kayla.
Your favorite Chamber Chicks.
Plus Robin on the sound. We always say your favorite Chamber Chicks, and then we are like,
well,
that's not true. We have other Chamber Chicks.
And your secret Chamber Chick. Yeah. If you call, you'll always talk to her. So, thanks for joining us today. Today we're here with Gail Welborn of Habersham EMC. Welcome for joining us.
Thank you for the invitation.
Gail manages the HR department at Habersham EMC, and you have a whole lot of people going in a whole lot of directions. So I know you're super busy, and it's a crazy time of year for you.
It is our busiest time of year, actually.
So thank you for taking the time to sit down and talk with us today. Tell us a little bit about what you do at Habersham EMC.
I am the Director of Human Resources at Habersham EMC. Been there just a little over 20 years. So the HR department, we handle everything from recruitment and retention and engagement, benefits, payroll, training and development, and safety. So kind of involved in the whole life cycle of the employees, if you will.
So did you start in HR?
Actually, I started in HR a long time ago. Actually, I was working in a manufacturing facility as a receptionist, switchboard person, and my plant manager came and said, "Hey, how would you like to have personnel?" And I'm like, "Not sure about that." So I did just love engaging with the employees, though, and I just jumped right into it. So as I finished my degree and started my career, I just stayed in that personnel and HR path, and I have loved every minute of it. Well, mostly.
Most of the minutes.
Mostly.
I love that so many of y'all at Habersham EMC have been there so long. Like, it just speaks to how,
It does.
what a great culture and company you have.
It really
So we
does.
are celebrating our service awards soon, and this year we had 2 employees that hit 40 years of service.
Wow.
That's amazing.
And then we have 2 employees that have just 2 weeks of service. So from all over the board. But our average tenure is about 14.5 years.
That's amazing.
That's exceptional.
So it is, yeah, very good. We have a great retention rate.
We do. What Gail is not telling all of you is that she very selflessly serves on our talent pipeline management program on the steering committee that helps our chamber understand what the needs of the 9 different industry sectors that are that have businesses in White County. As we grow to develop a skilled talent pool within White County, it's folks like Gail who contribute their knowledge and wisdom in helping us prepare that labor force for Habersham EMC or Cleveland Drug or wherever that may be, that they find the place that they can have those 14, 15, 40 years of service in their business. And we appreciate your time. It's a lot of time, and we really appreciate your thoughtfulness in those.
Absolutely.
So we'll get right to it. But we always get started with, we got to know what your go-to coffee order is. And I love what you said about that. So tell everybody.
Actually, I'm not, I said I'm not a frou-frou coffee drinker. I'm just a plain, I like a little bit of sweetener and some cream. Actually enough cream to make it not look like coffee anymore. But I actually am a coffee mug snob, not a coffee snob. I would rather have a good, solid, heavy mug that all 4 fingers will fit in, that just holds a lot of coffee. That's my preference. So not the coffee itself, but the mug. That's
I love that.
We need to show her our boo mugs.
Yes, we have these super cute mugs we got for Halloween that Jessica gave to us that are little ghosts, and they're so cute.
Yeah. And they're like at least a 2
swim in
gallon.
Oh, yeah. Your coffee's got to get lost in there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And give you enough room for all the sweetener,
cream.
right?
I have a drawer at work that I keep all my mugs in, because I usually, oddly enough, will try to coordinate the mug I'm using with whatever I'm wearing that day or the season.
That is a level of put together that I would aspire to be.
That's the coffee for me.
I love
I
it.
feel good drinking it.
Yes.
You should.
Life is too short to drink out of silly coffee.
That's
mugs.
right. You're right. Absolutely.
Very true.
So, we'll get started with a couple of questions today. We're going to, obviously, as you are the head of HR at Habersham EMC, we're going to talk about some different HR components for our businesses. So obviously y'all have a HR department, and a lot of our businesses may not, or if they do, it may not be, super formal. But what do you think are some foundational practices that any business, whether they have a formal HR department or not, what are some foundational HR things they should be prioritizing?
I think they need to prioritize really understanding what their business does and provides. So they have to use the resources. I know in a lot of small businesses, the business owner probably is the HR person or is wearing that hat. So they need to understand what is required of them by law, depending on the size of their business, how many employees do they actually have, but also in addition to that, the nature of their business and what they're providing, because sometimes small businesses that are providing services to entities that are federally funded or a federal contractor, there may be different levels of compliance that they have to meet and some things that they have to do. So they need to be aware of that. But prioritizing the culture and the nature of their business and knowing what they want. I would say regardless of the size, sometimes it's a good idea to have some policies and practices in place just for consistency. What makes their business unique, what's going to attract the talent that they want, what's going to retain them there. But the more they add employees, they want to be consistent with what they're doing across the board, because you want to keep that culture, because you've invested a lot in building that business. So I would say prioritizing knowing what your expectations are and what you do have to do to be compliant. And that's going to vary, again, from the size of the business, the nature of the business, what the products and services they're offering. So just be mindful of that.
Would you say some key basics are like having job descriptions for the positions that you have, or you said having regular guidelines as you grow. One of the things that we consult with a lot of businesses on is having those job descriptions. And we find a lot of small businesses haven't thought through that. And it's not difficult, really, to put together a job description. And people don't always do exactly what's in their job description, but maybe they should at least have some sort of guideline.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good practice. Even a handbook, an employee handbook, so that when you welcome someone on board, they kind of know what their expectations are, their work hours, the dress code, what do they do when they do have to be out. Especially in today's changing workforce, is better to communicate those things up front. But the job descriptions are just good basic tools to have so that people know what their expectations are. So hopefully down the road, 6 months, a year, when they're evaluating their performance, you can sit down and say, okay, are you meeting these requirements? Or, okay, here are the areas that you really need to improve upon. Or here's how your job has grown. We need to incorporate these new tasks into your job description and reevaluate that. Because hopefully you're giving employees the opportunity to grow and develop as they come in.
That's our favorite thing, opportunity to grow and develop. We love that. You talked briefly about contracts with federal entities or state entities, and there's some legal requirements that they have to have. Are there any, even if we don't have those type of agreements, those type of clientele, are there other just basic legal requirements our businesses should just be aware of?
Yeah, I would caution them, especially, depending on how small or largely small they are or whatever, is the number of employees. Just be cautious of how you grow. You may start out with 1 or 2 employees and you may not need anything specific, but then when you hit 5 or 10 or especially 50, there's federal guidelines that they need to meet. So just be mindful of that as you grow, because there's different thresholds that you need to be mindful of, because there's different requirements at that point and you don't want to miss those. The Department of Labor is a good resource, because there's an e-law tool that tells you just answer the questions and you come out with, okay, these are the posting requirements that you're required to do, these are the policies that you're required to have. So that will just help them identify the individual things that they need to have in place.
That's a great tool.
It is a great tool.
That's a good tool.
Yeah, so use the resources, definitely.
Awesome.
So obviously, y'all have a lot of employees. How many employees do y'all have?
Well, we have 118. We have the Trailwave subsidiary and the Habersham EMC business, and combined we have 118.
So, in what you do, especially having that many employees, there's a lot of conversations that have to be navigated about different stuff. So, do you have any strategies that you would recommend for approaching difficult conversations with an employee, especially if it's around a sensitive issue?
The fun part. The fun part.
The easy questions,
Yeah.
Gail.
And employee management. The first thing I would say is the worst thing to do is to not address it. So if there's an issue going on, the worst thing you can do is think, oh, okay, well, they're just going through something. This is going to go away, or it's going to fix itself. It'll go away, right? If I ignore it long enough, it's just going to disappear. Don't, because it's only affecting everybody else at work. So be proactive and just don't neglect, and do address it. But when you do address it, I would just recommend have some points written down, some facts, some examples of the behavior that you're addressing or the issues that you're addressing. Have it written down so that you can give some examples if it's asked, because you need to address it. I would start the conversation probably for a lot of these small businesses. You know all your employees. So you're probably best to start the conversation by saying how difficult it is for you to even be having this conversation with them. You don't really want to, but this has got to be addressed. Or simply by saying, okay, look, you're doing this. What is going on?
Yeah.
Is there some problems? Do avoid the discriminatory comments that you would be aware of, any kind of, like you're interviewing or any other thing. You don't want to say anything that's going to come back with litigation later. But have some facts, have the discussion. Just do it one-on-one. Don't do it in a group. You don't want to have a meeting with the whole staff and say, okay, we got this going, because then everybody's going to wonder, God,
Who did that?
Who are they talking about?
Then
Or
they're
they're all going to be like,
And so obviously there's a person that you want to know that.
Mhm.
So talk to that person
Yeah.
and talk to that person one-on-one.
The person who can fix
Right.
the issue, right?
Yeah.
The person
somebody has been
Yeah. Another,
drinking my coffee.
eating my sandwich in the
That's
fridge
right.
for
Yeah.
Ross Geller, because
Listen.
you know how we feel about friends.
We love
so.
friends. My sandwich? Sorry.
I would also recommend too, especially, these people, you can kind of already know what you're going to be going into because you know the individual. Are they going to be angry?
Yes.
Are there going to be tears? Or are they going to be defiant? So think about that going into it, and if you think it's going to be bad enough in the scenario, if their behavior has in the past dictated that it may be an angry situation or a difficult, even more difficult situation, invite another manager or business owner to join you in that conversation, just as a witness to the conversation to kind of help with that and be prepared in that way. And then follow up. Obviously, you want them to leave the conversation knowing exactly what the issue is. So don't be afraid to follow up later, and even acknowledge when there is a change and say, hey, you know what? I really appreciate you turning around and making a difference with that. And then also, if during the conversation something comes out, or is it depression or health issues or marital problems or financial problems, be a help, especially in a small business. Help them identify resources that might help whatever it is causing them to be this way.
That's
And
so
just
gracious.
yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we
They're
know each
employees.
other. Yeah.
They're employees, they're still people. Or small businesses, a lot of times in our communities, they're people we know. So you want to do what you can to salvage that and let them be a good part of your business.
Yeah. Our friends and our coworkers.
That's right.
And our employees. Yeah, I love that. Grace always wins, right?
Yes, that's right.
So because so many of our businesses are one-man shows, they're running the business, running HR, doing all the hiring, are there any affordable tools that you might suggest to help them track PTO or any tools that you might suggest? I love the e-law on Department of Labor.
That's
I'm going to
right.
add that to my little list. So.
Yeah, it is. There are so many out there. What I would say on that is, first of all, identify what you need. Really, what does your small business need? Don't be overwhelmed with all the products and services out there that you think you have to get something, because sometimes you won't need it yet. But there are some very reasonable performance softwares, but or tracking tools. Identify what's important to you, because one thing you don't want to do is end up with 5 systems because you're doing payroll in one system and you're a small business. You don't need all that to administer. So think about what you need and just go out there and research options, because there are so many that are free to very cheap and just may meet your needs. And performance really can be a simple form. It's consistent. You know what you're measuring. So you don't have to make that investment until it's necessary.
So what is one piece of advice, of HR advice, that you wish more business owners, again, small or large, what is one piece of advice you wish people understood?
You got all the best questions.
No. It's like I planned it up. No, just kidding.
We're not, everybody, is always, when you get that call to come to HR, nobody wants, it's not a bad thing. It can be really good. We have good news too sometimes, But I try to go about it, our employees are our greatest resource. They're your greatest resource. I mean, that's who is making your business for you, right? They're the ones that performing the work. So I wish that really they understood that they're a really valuable piece of building the culture for that organization. So they're setting themselves, they're helping that company be who they are. So put your practices and your standards in place that help your business go the direction you're wanting to go. And it doesn't have to be all formal. Your HR policies, but it doesn't have to be so formal and some, big legal binder.
The massive notebook on the shelf.
Right. It doesn't have to be all that. Just it's not have to be so formal. Just good standard practices and again, knowing that your employees are your most valuable resource.
I have another question I want to add.
Go ahead.
So it's very important to our chamber, and it's very important to your business, and that's culture. I love that y'all hire for the culture, because y'all do some pretty incredible work. I mean, during this last hurricane, not only did you have to clean up our community and get everybody's power back on here, y'all packed up and went to South Georgia and did it again for our neighbors down there. And so having a culture of just being, and I don't think I've ever met a person at HEMC that wasn't, let me help you do something. And I love that about your culture, and that's so important to y'all. How do y'all promote that, support that, engage your employees in that? That's a hard thing to build.
Yeah, so that's important for any organization. I would say, yeah, you need to hire the right skills and the right talents to do the jobs, but you also, more importantly, need to hire the right fit. You need to hire those individuals that do support your vision and the culture that you have and the service that you provide. We're a member-owned cooperative. We pride ourselves in providing great customer service and quality work. So you want employees that support that day in and day out. So when you hire, you need to hire the right fits, not just the right skills and the right talent.
Y'all have done an amazing job at it.
We have
Absolutely.
amazing employees. I would say that we're the best place to work anywhere around. We have the best workforce, amazing employees, amazing team, and it is really phenomenal to see when the storm hits, how everybody just comes together.
I love how y'all play. Y'all like they'll.
We do like to have fun too.
Listen, I'm here for it.
We do like
Work
to have
hard,
fun.
play hard.
That's right. That's
right.
It
Sometimes
is.
our
Pretty much
work
our
here,
lives.
too.
I am one of those I can walk into my team and say, "Hey guys, I have an idea," and they're like, "Oh no!" But it's just something fun. It's like, "Hey, I heard on the radio today is National Ice Cream Day. We should have ice cream this afternoon." So it's just do those things and have fun. Yeah.
That sounds like our office too.
It's National Ward's birthday. We should all go up to
Yeah.
Clyde's. Join us.
Yeah.
Well, good. You want the last one?
You can take it.
Okay. So, this is always our wrap-up question. how has being a member of the chamber helped your business at Habersham EMC?
We really value the partnership. I can say it is important to us. One of our founding principles is community service. So being a part of the chamber is just another avenue and another way of being connected to our communities and the communities we serve. So that's really one big component of it. Two is the partnership, and when there are issues or concerns that are facing our industry, you guys are a great voice for us on the legislative level, but just, helping us out there. We really appreciate that added voice. And then also economic development, because it's a bar, we are definitely want to be involved in development and smart growth within our communities. So we want to be mindful of what's going on and being a part of that. And then also, you guys have been great resources for what grants or opportunities are out there on, how can we get more resources to better serve our members in the communities that we serve. So it's been a great partnership, and we really appreciate
We
y'all.
appreciate y'all. I think we're the lucky ones on the end of the deal. But thank you so much. Anything else you'd like to share with our friends in small business about HR? You covered a lot of stuff.
I did. I hope that they are very successful, and they just be mindful as you grow. Again, you may start out with 2, but as you grow, get to 10, 20, 25, 50, 100, you want to be mindful of the different things that you're going to
The landscape changes.
It
right?
does. It absolutely does.
And the perspective
I
changes.
wish them all the best.
Well, Gail, thank you so much
You're
for joining
welcome.
us. It's always great to hang out with you. And this will wrap it up for this edition of Coffee Break with the Chamber Chicks.
Thank you.
See you, love you, bye.